Well, a tariff battle between the U.S. and China is stirring up fears of a trade war escalation, but our next guest saying China would be better prepared this time around than in the last trade war. Zoe Liu, Counsel of Foreign Relations, Senior Fellow for China Studies, joining us now to discuss. Zoe, it is good to see you. So, listen, the U.S.-China trade war, Zoe, does appear to be intensifying. China is hitting back, retaliating. I'm curious, Zoe, what do you make of how China is retaliating? What is the message you think Beijing is sending?
Josh, it's good to see you again. I do think China is better prepared this time than the last round of trade war. Part of the reason is because China has accumulated experience in the past few years, but more importantly, over the past few years, China has also been augmenting and refining its tools, as well as domestic legislative and administrative measures to hit back. So far, at least reading from the Chinese sources, China really has not been in a full mode of pouring oil to the trade war, but instead China has been very much cautious and in a mood of wait and see, and very much paying the way for additional negotiations. For example, China's 10% to 15% tariffs on U.S. LNG, coal, and oil. These are nothing to the same extent compared with last time. And China has also been has also expanded its export control measures in critical minerals. But this is nothing surprising at all, because for example, to be honest, perhaps the Chinese officials realized that their comparative advantage in critical minerals is diminishing in the long run, because US, Japan, the European Union have also been building their alternative supply chains. So in short, China is not necessarily in a full fire position or mode to expand the tariff, the trade war.
Part of what clearly upsets Zoe, President Trump, is he thinks China is failing to prevent illegal fentanyl from entering this country. What kind of concessions do you believe the Chinese are going to be willing to make to appease Trump on that front?
Josh, that's a good point. And honestly, I am not exactly sure why and how effective that the president linked fentanyl and a tariff. And because, U.S. government official sources, including the DEA's annual drug assessment and the Department of State's assessment, they all pointed out that China is no longer the source of fentanyl, the finished product sold on U.S. street. Instead, is Mexico, right? But China's role here is that the small chemical manufacturers or producers, they became source of underground clandestine labs that produce fentanyl, say in Latin American countries like Mexico. So here, in order for if the goal is to curb U.S. fentanyl crisis, then obviously we have to do more on the demand side at home. And then on the other hand, we really need Chinese law enforcement agencies cooperation, not just at the central government level, but also at the local government level, at the distribution level, the postal services, for them to stop the flow of the chemicals that have legitimate use, but can also be used for the production of fentanyl.
I guess bottom line, Zoe, I'm interested, given your sources, do you think ultimately you're going to get a deal here between Trump and Xi Jinping, some type of deal that everybody can go home happy with? Or no, do you expect this is going to be a bigger, broader, intensifying trade war?
I do think this time President Trump and President Xi Jinping, they are uniquely positioned to make a deal. Some people may say it's a grand bargain, but regardless how you frame it, I do think both leaders have a unique position. Part of the reason is because on President Trump's side, he has no problem or very flexible in terms of his position. He has no problem walking back of the decisions that he made yesterday. And on the other hand, President Xi Jinping, he need the U.S. perhaps more than before, in the sense that he need better relationship so that it can inject confidence in the Chinese economy. So from that perspective, these two leaders are uniquely positioned at this moment to strike a deal.
Zoe, always great to see you and have you on the show. Appreciate your time and insight.
Thank you for having me, Josh.